Now, great introduction now for Russ Fowler, who joins us tonight to talk about his experiences using eID. He's been using eID on his sheep for 11 years, I believe.
11. Yeah.
Yeah, so quite a long time. So thank you for joining us, Russell. I guess just be really good to share, got some questions to go through with you just to share your insights into how you found adopting this technology along your journey. I guess the first one, just to get into it, is can you share how you're currently using eID and what your plans are for the future?
Yeah, so currently we have all our ewes have electronic tags, including all our ewe lambs. So in the years previous, the last 2 years previous, we've tagged all our lambs with electronic tags. But this year, due to availability of getting hold of electronic tags, we've only done our ewe lambs, both terminal and maternal lambs. So yeah, we're using it to keep track of our scanning data for our ewes, and we're also weight gains in lambs that we're finishing. We're sort of looking towards doing big, developing data dumps for anyone buying our store lambs, so that we'll do when the electronic tag goes in the lamb on the lamb marking cradle, there's a weight taken then, and then a weaning weight, so they'll have access to that data on what was used for that. So we're trying to give those people that are buying our lambs to finish, more data for them to utilise.
Yeah, interesting. I'm sure that they must accept that. That must just give them that extra layer of information that they maybe wouldn't have gotten previously. So it's really, really good. I guess I just want to take a step back. 11 years in now, why did you adopt eID in the first place?
So yeah, that 11 years ago, I came home from ag college from Marcus Oldham, and I think it's general approach that you bring something home with you. So I brought a auto drafter from New Zealand. It was called a H-Dale. There wasn't many in that space then. So I got Gallagher have now taken them on and are using them. So yeah, it's one of the original ones. There's some footage there of it operating. It's sort of been a developing process over those years. So to start with, we were only doing a handful, of sheep. We're doing some merino, meat sheep testing, that sort of thing. So yeah, it sort of developed from there. And in 2018, we actually went through and re-tagged all our ewes to bring them all up so that they were all electronic tags. And then yeah, ever since then we've kept all ewe lambs get an electronic tag.
It's great. Yeah, the system looks like, you can just see how it's running extremely well there. That's incredible. Rather than having to do it all manually, must make life easier.
Yeah. Yes, well, yeah. So we're actually finishing at the moment. Our numbers are building up, so we won't be able to finish all our lambs, but we're sort of doing 7,000 lambs, finishing 7,000 lambs a year, and all through this system. So it's sort of originally when we first started with it, I was doing it on mob-based data collection. So it was more to do with the forecasting, how many lambs were going to be ready for the next load, so that we could book those in and also look at forward contracts on how many would be ready at what weight. And then it also, we were able to get a better understanding of how many grams per head per day the mob was doing. But now we've really refined that and able to keep our finger on the pulse in terms of our weight gains.
That might lead me a bit into this next one. Next question is just about quantifying the value of using eID. How can you do that?
It's it's a hard one, because it's like, for instance, with weight gains, it's a lot of 1%ers that make that up. You know, you can go from 150 grams a day to 300 grams per day, but it's not just by doing one thing. It's multiple things that have caused that to get a significant change. So I mean, you can drill into it as much as you like, but I think it's, you know, effectively, if we're putting 10 kilos on a lamb, that's, and we're going from 150 grams a head per day to 300, they're eating the same amount, whether they're putting on 150 or they're putting on 300. That means that at 300, we're turning off twice as many lambs with the same amount of feed. So it really gives you the balance of analysing that data without putting a number on it. It's more, you know, you can see the benefits just by a glance. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, the next one was just about how have you overcome any challenges that you might have encountered along the way with this?
Yeah, so I've got two examples with this. The first one's about we had, and quite a few producers would understand this. Last year we had a bout of pneumonia in our lambs, and yeah, it was really interesting because we knew about it well before most people knew about it. So most people were sort of finding out about it around the March period, whereas we knew about it in December because we were able to monitor our weight gains and we could see that there was an issue. And then we were able to, you know, is it worms? No, it's not worms. You know, what is it feed? Like what, and go through the process of eliminating those ones to actually find out what it was. I mean, admittedly, with pneumonia, you can't do anything about it unless you treat them with antibiotics, but everyone knows that then we're affected by being able to kill them. So yeah, it was like we had to lower our weights, but because of that, our real win with that was meaning we weren't taking our contracts because we weren't getting our weight gains. So we could see that was happening. So we weren't booking in lambs and not being able to fill those contracts, which was the real benefit with that one. Yeah, and then the other one, to give an example, is because we do all our scanning data. It was a couple of years ago now, we actually kept our dry ewe lambs. And as most people would say, oh, this is a bit of footage of we use a Gallagher wand, and that data coming through is telling us what that ewe is actually going to have. We enter that in at the scanning crate, and then we're able to just go along with a rattle and mark out the ones that we want to come out. So it makes it really simple, and then you can just draft them out rather than actually having to put them through the auto drafter. It's a very quick way of doing it. So yeah, sorry to divert there, but with the ewe lambs, those dry ewe lambs that we kept, a third of those had triplets the following year. So it sort of highlighted the point that it's not actually that they're infertile or later maturing. It was just more the fact that they were probably out of a triplet or something like that, and that they still have that fecundity. So without doing that and having that information, well, you couldn't determine that.
Yeah, right. That's incredible. Yeah, I guess maybe I'm thinking maybe one of the a challenge that you might face is just the amount of data that you end up with and sort of knowing what to do with it. Is that
Yes,
something that you come across?
Yeah, that is the issue. Like early on in the piece, before AgriWeb and or Gallagher have got their own stuff now and that sort of thing. Before they came about, it was just pulling it and using it on Excel spreadsheets and breaking it down that way. It's quite cumbersome and stuff like that, but there is becoming more development in that space for, people that don't feel as tech savvy like with using Excel. There are more ways of doing that now and more learning methods, which has certainly helped. But that has been a real challenge.
Too much information sometimes.
Yes. Yeah.
Then next question, Russ, is just on infrastructure, and what infrastructure do you recommend producers need to just get started with this?
Yeah, well, it's sort of you really need to look at what you want it for. So, I mean, these two videos that I've got are two types of systems. So if you're looking for visual stuff that you want to record and, stuff that you want to enter, then the wand is a great way to start because you've got the ability just to manually draft sheep out or cattle or whatever. But if you're looking for more weights in lambs or cattle, then definitely a auto draft or an indicator is the way to go.
Yeah, so there really is just such a big spectrum there from the base level to, quite complex setup. So, yeah.
Yes, and the reason I went with the Gallagher one is just that the visual side of it. They've changed, or they've all changed rapidly. But I just found for our system, with our staff and stuff like that, having those visual makes it very simple and easy to use. Like you can see with a wand, like it comes up different colours for different lines of stock. So it just helps that way. But I mean, it's horses for courses on what system you use. You just need to have a look at what's best for you.
Excellent. And yeah, last one, Russell, for tonight is just what advice would you have for others out there that are looking at getting started with this?
Yep. Yeah, I think really it's anywhere's a good starting point. I mean, having gone through it all, I think that like the way that I've found my feet with it, through just doing a bit to start with, whether it's just your ewe lambs or or whether it's a handful of sheep that studs and stuff like that. It's just a good way to start, and then as you can see the benefits in it, then increase and get a better handle on how to utilize the data and stuff like that. But I reckon just make a start is the best way.
Yeah, I think sometimes that's the best place to start. So yeah, absolutely. No, look, Russell, thank you very much for joining us tonight. I think, you've provided some great insights there. We'll be sharing this recording out to everyone who registered for the webinar tonight. So if anyone wants to catch up on anything Russell raised, you can go back through it that way.